Hello, shufflers, and welcome back to Cardistrytalk. This is episode 45, and today I'm joined by Sawyer Thorne. I want to do a quick plug real quick for the Cardistrytalk Uncut Challenge, which is going to be a cardistry tournament that is focused on uncut performances and uncut videos. So if you want more details on that, check it out on my Instagram. It's going to be a lot of fun, and the deadline to submit your entries to be a part of the tournament will be September 24th, so make sure to enter as early as you can to make sure you're not rushing at the end of the deadline. Today I am joined by Sawyer Thorne. He is a active member of the community who has been a part of whyfrontier and has been a part of CDC tournaments and has been around for a while in the community, and I'm super happy to talk with him today. Let's go ahead and roll the intro. With Daylight playing cards, obviously you put together Goliath, your solo video. What was it like kind of bringing those moves into video format?
It's a really fun process. That was my second official solo video. I came out with one 2 years ago. It's one of those funny things too. I've been doing cardistry since 2014 or something. I've been doing it for a long time, but I never really recorded myself or anything, or was active in the community until maybe 3-4 years ago.
Mm-hmm.
And so it took me forever to put up my first solo video, but I find the whole process to be a lot of fun. I think I really love scouting for these locations, and taking the time. I worked with one of my best friends. I've known him since we were in preschool, Ben Kubek.
Mm-hmm.
I worked with him and Mike for the filming of that. And it's really great to have a team like that we all know each other and we're able to collaborate and work together really easy. So it was a really seamless process. But it's really fun for me to create moves and get to I see them from this top down perspective all the time.
Yeah.
And then finally seeing them with the camera moves that can accentuate certain beats and moments, and combining it with music, and when it's edited and color corrected and everything. It's a very rewarding feeling when when I see the finished product. Mm-hmm. To be able to take all that time. Some of those moves had been in the works for probably over a year. And I was really happy to see good positive reception on them.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. It's interesting too. I know I've talked about this really early on in the show, but you can spend a year plus on a move for something that lasts 10 to 15 seconds. And a lot of outside people don't understand that aspect of it. But I think as cardists, we kind of appreciate the nuances and thoughts that go into a move when you know and can see them.
Right. And it's when you, and it's so interesting because I show these things to my family and friends who don't do cardistry, and they're like, oh, that was really nice.
Mm-hmm.
But it's interesting to hear the perspective of a cardist, when you hear that performance was really good. You hear it's interesting, the compliments you get from cardists is almost so much better in a way, because we have this knowledge. Mm-hmm. Of the art, and we know the work that you have to put into these moves in order to get them to be perfect. And sometimes you don't even see a move as hard. Sometimes it's my one move in there called Sarlacc. It's interlocking and everything. that one is very difficult to get smooth,
Mm-hmm.
but it might not even look like that on the surface. It's like, I think I can equate that to a lot of like Tobias Levin's cuts. Like all of his moves, like he makes it look so easy. But when I like try to learn them, like I can't figure it out.
Mm-hmm.
Like it's just a testament to like, it's a testament to like good practice and like having like a goal set for what you want to your move to look like, and then like actually like seeking out to achieve it.
Mm-hmm. Did you find that most of the recording process was like doing your moves? Was it easy to perform them in front of the camera, or was it difficult, or what? They kind of depend on the move, I'm assuming.
Yeah, it kind of depended on the move. It's it's also just a very funny phenomenon. Like for anyone who's ever like not recorded a video, like, and you might kind of get a similar thing if you're just posting for like Instagram,
Mm-hmm.
where like you might be like, okay, I want to post this combo, or I want to post this new move of mine, and you can do it just fine. But then as soon as you turn the camera on, you get like these like nerves, even like when you're by yourself. But a lot of times those nerves can get like amplified even more when you've got someone else there.
Mm-hmm.
So like we filmed Goliath and Mike's video Golden Age in the same day.
Mm-hmm.
And it was like a whole day process. Like it took each of us like a good solid like 3-4 hours to film our videos. It's something that like you almost don't think about like when you're prepping for it, even though I had filmed the one solo video before, and then I competed in like the Cardistry Discord championship last summer.
Mm-hmm.
I made it through round one. So I had to make 2 videos for that. But even after doing like 4 or 3 videos, basically, like I underestimated how long the whole shooting process is and how long the editing process is.
Yeah.
I wasn't in the room when Mike did all of the editing for both of our solo videos we did for Frontier. He wanted to helm that. That was like his thing. He had his vision for both of the videos that he wanted to achieve there. And so I didn't know how long he took on those, but when I worked alongside with my cameraman and friend Ben on my other videos, and it's a long process, which is just like I learned to appreciate like the editing process, and I'm trying to learn it a little bit, but it takes a lot of time.
Mm-hmm. I think, yeah, it's really interesting how long like a 3-minute video or 2-minute video can take, like you said, the entire day. I know with other people I've talked to in the past, I don't remember if it was Leo or Greg for missing, but they said like they actually like spent multiple days on one video. So they actually came back to the same locations wearing the same clothes to shoot. So sometimes it even goes more than a day. It's really interesting how much work will go into just these really short, polished videos.
Right. Yeah, especially when you're like on that level. Like I think, for filming an Instagram post, like those usually take me like less than 10 minutes whenever I do one of those to get it, because and if it takes me any longer than 10 minutes, honestly, I kind of will just give up and try again later.
Mm-hmm.
Like it's like I'll try again tomorrow if I wanted to post it. Because I don't really want to spend that much time on just like sitting in front of my phone recording something that is just 15 seconds of a move. Like I can take a break and practice it more and then come back again later feeling refreshed.
Mm-hmm.
And I can definitely see the merit in that, like shooting something over multiple days, like especially with something like as long as like Leo's most recent video was. Like that was a big undertaking. Like he was like traveling all around New York City, it looked like, and that definitely like is not just something you could do in a day. So I think there is like I don't think we like underappreciate like the whole video process, but I think as a community, like some of us like don't quite get like how long it can truly take to make some of these amazing videos.
Mm-hmm. When you released Goliath out and you saw the reception come back, was there kind of like a relief in like getting some of these moves out there and like kind of seen by the community, or like kind of like a being appreciative of the accumulation of your moves over time?
Yeah, definitely. It is kind of wild to see, yeah, like some of the growth I've experienced and like felt. Like I look back um like early to mid 2019, and I had a few good moves. But like I feel like almost like I feel like I can think of like two good moves maybe that I made
Mm-hmm.
like yeah, post like 2 years ago, and everything else that I made like after that, like I feel like it's just so much better. Like ever since I like really started interacting with the community. Like I had spent another like a good couple of years just like kind of posting and commenting, but not really like interacting with people.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that like face to face, and not necessarily even face to face, but like that like
Back and forth.
yeah, sort of you know, having someone comment like and it's not like having someone comment about how much they love that move, or like damn, that was so good, is it's like it's really rewarding to see, and especially to see like people that I like looked up to, like a lot of the people that I like hang out with and I'm like friends with now are people that I started following back in like 2017 or 2018, like being like, damn, they're like such good cardists, I want to be that good someday.
Mm-hmm.
And like now I can call them like I can call them a homie, and they can like help me with my moves, and they like hype me up and stuff. And so it's one thing that I do feel like it's such an important thing in terms of my mind, like to interact with the community. Like, yeah, again, and I hadn't met anyone in the cardistry community until I met Mike back in 2018.
Mm-hmm.
I had never I had chatted with a few people, but I had never like met someone in person and seen someone else do it like right in front of me. And that changed my perspective a lot. In the fact that like I still am very much like, I know we were in terms of like my creative process, I am kind of, I like to create alone. Like I tend to like want to get pretty much a finished product before I show it to anyone else.
Mm-hmm.
Because like I don't like that feeling of like things being unfinished necessarily. So I think like I tend to keep a lot of my moves to myself until like just about until like I'm ready to post them, and then I'll share them with a few people and like get their advice on it then, which I think sometimes can be a little detrimental to me, because then they might point something out to me that's like, this would look better, and then I go, oh yeah, it would look better. But I'm too set in my way now. Like I've been doing this move over and over again for the past like 3 weeks now.
Mm-hmm.
Excuse me. I've been doing it this way, and so it's so hard to like change that.
I think it's interesting your point about like having a difference of thought process when like you meet other people in person, because I think that's definitely something that's really real. For me personally, I did cardistry like in high school, and then I went to college and just I knew still how to do it, but I wasn't interacting at all. And then like I came back to it around COVID time, And I think that the reason that I kind of got out of it, one of the main reasons is just I didn't have that community aspect, which I think really can help keep you in a hobby.
Yeah.
For you, I think it's really cool now that you have those people to interact with and to like discuss moves and like what makes one good, what makes one bad. I think that's like extremely helpful.
Yeah. And like I like I also just have a hard time like chatting with someone in terms of cardistry moves, like in between screens too. Like I think some of my best moves have come out with like from when I've like met someone in person. Like I meet Mike a lot. Like we live about 3 hours from each other. And
Mhm.
so we can kind of like meet in the middle sometimes, or like I drive up there for a weekend, or he drives down to me for a weekend. Um, but I find that like I make the most growth when I'm like interacting with other people, because like I can be working on something and they can like touch my hands and they can touch the deck. And like I find that like having that like actual like human contact like makes it like it like gives me that like extra boost to like I have a hard time, like I'm a very visual person, like I'm a visual learner a lot of times. And so like having someone just describe, well, what if you like rolled it this way? Like I'd be like, well, what does that mean?
Mhm.
I would get confused by that. But if someone like almost like moves it for me, like, or like I can like show the person like the position that I'm in, and they like can like copy it and show me the direction they would take it, that like that really helps me. Because like, and two, like a lot of times with my creative process, like I I very much think with my hands. I think there is something, I believe it's in Dimitri Arleri's book that he wrote. It's like, are you a hand thinker or are you a head thinker?
Yeah.
And I'm definitely a hand thinker a lot of the times. Like a lot of my moves, like I can create, I end up creating like 90% of it. Like I have a move called Karuba. I think it's on my Instagram, but I can kind of angle it down just so that there's a little bit of a visual aspect for anyone listening. I basically came up with like the main motion, which is a pincho grip with like this sort of like roll that happens.
Mhm.
And I think I came up with just that. And I like was just like, well, that's not enough to be a move. And I was just like, well, what if I just add another packet? And basically I just added a second pack. I added a scissor cut packet, which is kind of a crutch for me. I often
Mhm.
just add a scissor cut packet and I'm good to go. Like that's how I finish a lot of my moves.
Yeah.
Um,
It's it's funny. I recently went to like make a bunch of tutorials for like my 1 year podcast anniversary or whatever. And like I didn't notice until I started to make those tutorials, but all of my moves have like a scissor cut somewhere in there. And I never knew until I made those tutorials. And now I like actively try to avoid it if I can.
yeah, it's funny. Like that's something that like, yeah, moving past Goliath and like trying to create my own things, like trying to create new stuff. Like I'm trying, it's so hard because like I think I've also like I like have a couple moves in progress, I think, that like utilize the scissor cut still, but like I need to try and move away from that.
Mhm.
Because like there needs to be in it like an evolving of your style, or else like things are gonna get like you're gonna get kind of bored.
Mhm.
And other people are also probably gonna get kind of bored of watching you do the same like scissor cut style move for the
Yeah.
12th time.
When it comes to you making moves, do you have any kind of like creative process when it comes to trying to make moves, or is it kind of just random every time?
Um, it is, yeah, that's been a hard thing for me to like pin down like kind of how I do it. And I'm trying to figure that out more as I'm like creating these moves. Um, but yeah, again, like I think going back to like I'm a hand thinker, and so like I think a lot of the times I just like it's kind of also a bad thing, because like I will just kind of start doing something, like I'll just kind of, yeah, exactly, I'll just kind of start doing something, and I like finish it and I'm like, oh wow, that was so good, I need to do that again, and then I forget it.
Yeah.
Like I have some moves that like came from that like happening, and it worked out. Like I'm trying to think of a move that happened with of mine. I think, yeah, I think my move Anthem, I think, was kind of that. Like I come up, I think, and a lot of times it's like one little thing. Like I will play around with an opener for a long time. Like I'll just have, you know, like it'll be like a reverse kind of backwards kind of Sybil something or whatever. And I will just like kind of do the same thing like to start off, because I kind of like how it feels. And then from there, I try and find something different, like a different direction to go in it each time. Like what if I move this packet instead of the other packet? Like I move the bottom packet with my thumb instead of my pinky, or something like that. But that doesn't happen in my brain a lot. Like it just kind of happens, yeah, with my hands. And so like move making can kind of take me a while sometimes, because I end up forgetting things.
I think that's common for a lot of hand thinkers. Like I know, I think I'm pretty much in the same boat most of the time. And where I just sometimes I'll create things, I'll immediately forget it. It's like I know the moments when I'm like I'm creative and I'm gonna create something most likely, but I need to like focus and make sure I get like a camera on me recording so I can replace it, like figure out what I even did.
Yeah, that's something that I'm really bad at doing. Like because a lot of the times, like I also like am a lot of just like an unconscious shuffler, almost, is kind of maybe the term. Like I just like I'll just be watching TV, or I'm just watching a movie, and I'm just playing with cards, just because I think it's fun, and it's just like it just kind of keeps my hands occupied, and it doesn't bother anyone. It's not like I'm being super loud or anything if I'm watching it with anyone else. But I think that's the issue too, is that I find myself with a deck of cards a lot of the time, like especially when I'm just like home. Like if I'm at home, a lot of the times I'll have like a deck of cards like either in my hands or in my pocket, or like right on the counter next to me or something. Like I just find myself shuffling like a lot of the time, and a lot of the times like I tend to get like stuck on like the same opener or something, and so you might just like see me doing the same thing just like over and over for like an entire day.
Yeah, I think, yeah, it's weird you get stuck on stuff. I think it's interesting, like this doesn't get discussed a lot. I just had an episode with Elliot Slevin recently where we were talking about this, but there's almost like a meditative and calming aspect to cardistry if you're when it's just in your hands and you're just kind of like fidgeting without even really thinking about it.
Right.
And sometimes even when you're in that state, and like usually you're doing stuff you already know, sometimes you do something new and you have no clue what you did or why. That's often like the most frustrating part.
Yeah, exactly. Or like I feel like, you know, I've had an instance before where like I've almost like I've like made a mistake, like I almost like drop a packet, but then I like somehow like fix it, and it looked like it feels, and like I remember seeing it and it looked super cool, and then I like try to do it again or something, and it's like, yeah, I think those accidents, like it's like when you like when it's happening, it feels so good. It's like one of the best things that you can like feel as like a cardist, is like when like a whole move just comes together like all at once. But
Mhm.
then it's like when you have a really great dream and
Yeah.
you like wake up and you're like, I want to like, and like you can almost like, you're almost like lucid dreaming in a sense. You're like I know this is a dream and I want to remember this dream. But then as soon as you wake up, you instantly forget the dream. And it's like really frustrating because it's like, that was really cool. And like, I wish I could tell someone about it
Mhm.
because it was a really cool or really weird or really fun dream. But like, no one's ever going to remember it again. And it's like, I wonder, like, sometimes I wonder how many like good moves I've created like over the years on accident and then forgot them and like have like never recreated.
Mhm.
Because I think there have been times where I will like I think there have been a couple of times where I have forgotten like a mechanic, but then it like comes back to me. But I think there are way more times where I remember I come up with this mechanic with my hands and forget it and never remember it again.
Mhm. It's weird too, because like even moves that you do know or like have performed a lot, sometimes you'll still forget those. Like I know
Yeah.
recently I had to look up a video I made in the past to remember like how I did a certain move I created.
Yeah, that's I think more frustrating.
Hmm. It's almost
Like I
like there's
remember,
a limited amount of space that like your muscle memory can hold.
yeah, like I remember like when I was at Cardistrycon in Portland, like if I was ever asked to like film something, it's like I think I just did like the same move like every time because like it was just like it was like right in the spur of the moment. I was just like, here, this one. And it was just like every time I think I just did the same move. Like I know I'm in there's the video that Jared Occupied Cards made
Hmm.
for that. And I think I'm in it like 4 or 5 times, and I think I do the same move like 3 different times in it.
Hmm.
And I like look back at it and it's like, why didn't I just like do a different move?
Hmm.
Like I couldn't think of anything else.
Yeah. It's funny like when you get asked to like perform a move that you always kind of gravitate towards. Well, it kind of makes sense. You gravitate towards stuff you know you can hopefully do without messing up. Um, so it's like something you know really well. But like for most people, there's a lot of moves they know and can do really well, but they still gravitate to just doing like one move when they're asked to show it off.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, definitely. It's a weird thing like that. Yeah, I don't know why that is. It's like just yeah, something weird with the brain, I guess.
I have a question from Linus. He
Okay.
asked, "What was your favorite? What was your who's your creative inspirations for cardistry, whether it's cardists or not cardists?" So,
That's a
who
good
inspired you,
question.
basically?
Um, I have a lot of inspirations, I feel like. I think it kind of goes with like I think one that kind of goes without saying with a lot of people, especially a lot of like packet cutters. It's like people like Tobias and Nicolaj and Oliver are like big inspirations for like everyone.
Mhm.
So those almost kind of go without saying. But I also find myself taking a lot of inspiration from Henrik Forberg.
Yeah.
I wish he did more stuff recently because I love his stuff a lot. Um, I find myself like gravitating towards a lot of his flow. I love how he's like very aggressive, but also very like graceful in the same sense. Um, and then I I think I also find myself inspired by a lot of my friends. Like I think when I see Linus do something crazy, it inspires me to want to try and think of something equally as crazy. Um, I also find myself um, a little less so now. I think um, Leo's most recent video I really liked, but it didn't like his newer style didn't quite exactly like connect with like what I like making. I
Mhm.
think a lot of his other previous stuff, like things like in the Fontaine Futures video, um, like that stuff really resonates with me. I love how he is able to create like really dynamic moves with really nice flow, that like don't feel too busy. Like I think a lot of times I think like my only criticism that I think I had thinking about him when I watched the video is that some of those moves felt a little busy for me. And like I don't like, I'm not like dissing him or anything. I think they're still great moves, but like in my personal taste, like I like to have like every packet have a purpose usually. And so when it gets to like, you know, a lot of packets that aren't all moving like in harmony, that tends to like not quite catch my eye. And I also find myself inspired a lot in terms of like cardists with the Japanese cardists, like Kichi and like Masa and Vin, all are really great. I love how like I love how they've all kind of like I love how they've created something that is their own, like similar to how like you can kind of watch, like Tobias and Nikolai and Oliver and be like, that's like almost like Danish cardistry. Like you can feel their like inspiration, like them working off of one another, and they have this very specific way that a lot of their moves look. And I think the Japanese cardists have also really like done the same thing and like creating their own style, which I think is really awesome. And I would love to get to that someday, that like I'm able to like kind of like people can like see my moves and like, or like, see someone else make a move and it's like, that's a Sawyer kind of move. Like I think that that's super cool, that like, you can see like these specific grips and it's like that's inspired by like the Japanese cardists, or like that's inspired by like Tobias. And I think that's like super like just like fascinating that like we've come to that point in cardistry where like you can like see the inspiration like in these different regions and like between different cardists and between like how they take inspiration from like cardistry versus like even like XCM. Like I think there are still some remnants of like XCM inspiration nowadays too, in like different flows, and like a lot of the like stunt moves that you see nowadays like have like taken the inspiration of like the XCM, like stunts doing crazy aerials and stuff, but like making them like really beautiful too. Like I think of like the back palm catch that Chase does. It's like that's really stunty, but it's also really beautiful to watch. Like I think that's super cool. And then like outside of cardistry, I'm a musician, and so I take inspiration from a lot of musicians. I'm like I play like classical music and jazz a lot. Like I'm in music school for those for like classical music and jazz, and so I take inspiration from like a lot of jazz musicians. I think sort of in cardistry a bit, like in terms of flow a little bit. Like they have like this very easygoing kind of feel, and like just kind of this like how they like, it sounds like it's kind of like a controlled chaos in a way with like jazz musicians, which I think is really cool, and I think can be like a very interesting expression in cardistry to like see, like again, like how I kind of said how like I like everything to kind of have its purpose, and like seeing like each packet move in a different way within a cut, but all working together to create something that looks harmonious and like complete and cohesive. That's the word I was looking for. Is really cool.
Sawyer, at the end of the show, I like to do what I call rule out the close-up pad. That's just my fancy way of saying, is there any last thing that you would like to promote, or any last nugget you'd like to leave the audience with?
Check out my Instagram, Sawyer Thorne, without the O. That's my Instagram handle. I haven't been posting there in a while. Just again, it's been a really busy time for me right now, but I'll probably be getting back to it soon. Check out whyfrontier on Instagram. You'll hopefully be seeing some stuff from us soon. And yeah, I mean, just keep creating, keep having fun with cards. Like, I think we're in kind of a golden age where we're seeing all this really amazing stuff come out. Whether it's like amazing decks, like the Fever Dream things that has just been coming out, like is like so unique and completely like new to cardistry, or just, we keep seeing crazy moves and crazy new videos coming out. To just keep creating, just keep having fun with it. Like, we're having so much fun with cardistry right now, so like, why stop?
Well, like usual, I'll have links to all of Sawyer's stuff in the description if you want to check him out and you're watching here on YouTube. Sawyer, once again, thank you for being on the show. I hope everybody learned something, had a little bit of fun. I know I had a lot of fun, so this was a really good episode, and we will see you guys later.
Thanks for having me.
Thanks for being here.